Hello, I'm Ben. Welcome to the channel. So today we're doing a real quick video about 8 ways that leaders destroy team morale. And I say bosses because a good leader pays attention to how they handle their team. So this is 8 ways leaders destroy team morale and how to turn it around. And this is by a gentleman named Toby Oluwole. That's spelled Oluwole. And I will be giving my suggestions as well. So number 1, they say they micromanage great performers. That is how you lose great performers. When you micromanage people, you show that you have no trust for them, you don't believe in their processes, and you're going to get in the way of it. Okay? That's how you kill success quickly. How you turn it around, you trust your team to do their job, focus on the outcomes instead of every little step, set clear expectations up front, then give them space to excel. I always say hire the right people and get out of the way. I think that's what you should do. Richard Branson said something very similar to that too. So if he agrees with me, it's probably a good suggestion, right? Number 2, they criticize people in public. You don't ever do that, ever. How to turn it around, give feedback privately to maintain trust and respect. Praise in public to create a positive, encouraging culture. That's a fact. And you should be talking to your people in one-on-ones weekly. So if you have something you need to correct, you can correct it when it's small so it doesn't get big. And you do those things purposely every week. So bad news is received just like good news. It's just news for this week. Next week we'll do better, right? Nobody should criticize people in public. If I see that, especially from someone that calls themselves a leader, typically I try to get that person out of there. Number 3 is they play favorites and everyone knows. That is stupid. You're responsible for the entire team, right? How to turn it around, be fair with recognition and opportunities for everyone, and make decisions transparent so no one feels overlooked. And I will go one step further. Your entire team you should see as a 10. Whether you like somebody or you hate them, they should not know. You should be honest with their expectations, honest with their performance, and help them get better. Okay? That's what you should do if you're a leader. Okay? So don't play favorites. There's no point in it. Number 4 is they avoid tough conversations. I just mentioned what I do. I do weekly one-on-ones, so the tough conversations are no more than 5 days old, right? So you get it handled, you get out of the way before it can abscess and turn into something bigger. How to turn it around, I said address conflicts early before they become bigger issues, just what I just said, and focus on solutions, not to blame. Keep the conversation constructive. Remember, unless it's egregious, it's a learning opportunity. So teach them, get them better, and then move on. If it's egregious, then fire them and remove them so you don't have that happen, and you don't want a place where you keep bad people. When you keep bad people in place, good people leave, okay? So don't avoid tough conversations. Number 5 is they don't share the why behind the decision. That's a mistake. How to turn it around, explain the bigger picture and help the team understand the purpose, connect their work to the company's goals to see their impact. That last piece is the biggest piece. If you can have a person see how their job is tied to the bottom line and how they have a very important part of that, they feel more empowered, they feel important, they feel welcome, and they feel respected and appreciated. So it's very important that you do that appropriately. You never say, do this because I said so. I've had bosses in the past that said that, and even though it was definitely within the constraints of their role to be that way, you don't motivate people that way. Okay? Some of the greatest accomplishments that I have had have actually just becoming the leader of a team that felt the most engaged and most encouraged. That feedback to me was fantastic because that team did great things, had safety records, production records, quality records, did grand things just because they felt empowered to do so. When you hire people, you're hiring that whole person for their body, spirit, and mind, right? If you have them doing one task and they have information that could get those tasks done better. Why? Because they're in the trenches doing it every day. You should listen to that. That's some of the greatest wisdom you can get. Listen to that, respect it, and show how they impact the big picture. Number 6 is they expect constant availability. I hate that. I had a boss one time that he knew I did a meeting every week at this time with my entire team. I cut out all the other meetings during the week because the team was just being strung up by meetings. So we had this meeting, and every week he would interrupt me during that time. Every week. And finally, one week, I sent him the voicemail. He texted me, hey, man, I need you. I was like, my meeting with my leadership is scheduled this week. And it's funny, if you took the wages of everybody in that meeting, you're talking about $3 or $4 million represented on those phones. And he thought his time was more important than everyone else's time in the room. And was it? No, not once was it ever a true urgent thing. It goes back to first things first. Some people do the first things first and they do things in order of the expectation and reality. Other people try to make everything urgent. And when you make everything urgent, the truth is nothing. Nothing is. Okay. Number 6 is they expect constant availability, and that is awful. It says how to turn around, respect off hours unless it's emergency. I think you handle the emergency if it's an emergency. Encourage boundaries and lead by example with your own work-life balance. I think you absolutely should respect people's time off. And same boss called me whenever I took vacation, called me 3 years in a row after 7 p.m. on Christmas Eve. Now, I specifically never took any time off, but I took Christmas off, I took Christmas Eve off, I took Thanksgiving and the Friday after off every year, if I could. I didn't matter hiring urgent things, but there was no reason it couldn't wait till the next week. And ultimately, when I left that role, that was one of the reasons I left the role, because just called me when I was off and gave me a level of disrespect that was unacceptable for me. So I corrected the person on it, and I decided over the next few days, you know what, I'm done working in this environment. And the company figured it out and fired him just a few months later. They used my exit interview and some of those things to do that. But here's the thing. There's just as a boss, you're destroying your teams when you do that nonsense. You just respect their time. I also talked about one-on-ones just to throw into the subject. I have my one-on-ones every Friday with my direct reports because I don't want them taking anything work-related into the weekend. When they clock out, I want them to go home and be with their families, be at home. I don't want work to even come up. So I eat that frog on Fridays. I handle whatever thing is stressing them out, try to help them remove those obstacles and say, look, I'll follow up with you Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning, and we'll make sure that we get this moving. Even if we take small steps, we'll get it handled. That's how you handle a team. That's how you lead and manage a team. You lead the team and manage the circumstances and manage the obstacles that they have in front of them. And that's how you do it appropriately so they're not worrying about over the weekend. I can't stand when you can't get feedback and then you go off for 2 days and now you're thinking about the entire time. That's awful. There's no peace when you do that. Number 7 is they don't celebrate wins publicly. That's just dumb. You've heard me say on the channel many, many times, celebrate the small things, celebrate wins. When you do, it creates momentum, and then everybody gets involved and everybody feels motivated. What it says here, how to turn it around, recognize both big and small wins regularly to keep spirits high. Make celebrations a team effort. Let everyone share their success. I agree completely. It's just like the quarterback in the NFL. He might be paid the most money, but let him try to throw a single pass without that offensive line. People shine because other people do their jobs appropriately. So you have a superstar because of all the great folks that are standing in front of them. So remember that. It's a team effort. Yes, someone might stand out, but you need to celebrate those wins publicly with the entire team. It motivates everyone and everyone feels appreciated. Number 8, they overpromise and undeliver. That's awful. You want to say what you do. You want to set the proper expectations and hold yourself to that as well. How to turn it around, set realistic expectations, and communicate changes clearly. If something can't be delivered, acknowledge it, focus on it and the next steps, and then document the learnings that you had from those processes. Because if you do that, it's not wasted. You've learned something from it, and you can chalk that up as a learning, and hopefully it didn't cost you much. But make sure next time you don't replicate any of those steps because you want it to be the complete savings you can. And if that's the case, then that became a cost savings initiative and you learn from it and your team learned from it. I think that's a great call out. So that is 8 ways leaders destroy a team morale and how to turn it around. I think it's how 8 ways bosses destroy a team morale. And that is by Toby, T-O-B-I, Oluwole, spelled O-L-U-W-O-L-E. I'm Ben. If you like subject matter such as these and videos like this, please like, please subscribe to the channel. Please share. Be good.